started to quilt with Celie's group, and that was the first one.
Yeah.
She always challenged me because she says, I'm tired of you coming in here with somebody else's pattern and making that pattern. She said, that's other people's work. Why, where's your work?
Right.
And I kept saying, this is my work. Don't you think it's nice? Don't you like my lines? She said, that's not your work. That's someone else's work. Yeah. And so we would always get into these back and forths until I decided that I was going to make something and surprise Celie. And I was able to truly surprise her.
Oh.
And since that time, I have surprised her time and again.
That is so cool. Well, Celie's a kind of, that's great. I can't wait to see your stuff. Yeah.
So if I always figure if I can surprise Celie, I'm pretty satisfied. So I'm working on another one today, even that I've surprised myself today. So
I like that.
So this one's going to be very New Orleans, and I want to put that one in the show since we have until June. So
that's great. That's really great. Celie's with me when I quilt pretty much all the time now because just her level of creativity and not to fear making mistakes and to bring love and joy. And just when I first interviewed her the first time, I said, so why do you quilt? And she said, why do I breathe? And it was like, I'm like, exactly. You know, like, and I don't know, there's something about her that is, as a mentor, as someone to be inspired by, she lives the life. She lives the quilting life in a really sort of authentic way.
She does. And even with the challenge, because some people would hear us have an exchange and they would tell me, you knew Celie's, going to have to put you out. And I said, no, she never would. And so we are kind of the oil and water type thing, but we have such a respect because, I mean, it was that exchange that made me look inside of myself and say, you know what? You can do more than other people's patterns.
Yeah.
And even with doing a lot of traditional squares that I do, I'd like to put them together in sometimes a different way.
Love it.
Yes. So it's fun.
That's really cool. All right. So Beecher Church and
okay. And my other guild is Crescent City Quilters. And we meet over in the 7th Ward at Blessed Silo's Church. And so we quilt together once a month. And the other group that we actually, because I'm on the West Bank, some of us West Bankers decided we're just going to go and form a little sit and sew. So we do a sit and sew on the second Monday evening at the Gretna Library.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yes.
And how are the groups different? Do you see difference in the 3 different groups?
Oh, definitely. Yes. And of course, I'll just tell you about, I'm a free spirit as well. So I have gone to other people's Gulf States meetings and I introduce myself and tell people who I am, and I sit through their meetings and enjoy them. But I'll tell them, I have no intentions of becoming a member. I'm, in some cases, I'm in the area and I just wanted to stop by and see what you guys were doing. I've always been welcomed back.
That's really nice.
But it's always, I'm always curious to see what people do. Now, in Beecher's group with Celie, I find that it is a group with a lot of creative juices are flowing, and it's very relaxed, very, very relaxed. It's a come and learn, and please don't be intimidated in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And
it's very open. It's very kind.
It is tremendously kind, and supplies are available. Books are available. People make themselves available. It's just it's, if you're intimidated at all, this is probably the place that you should start off, just to be comfortable.
Yeah. And they're really good with beginners, and there's just a kind of super support system.
Yes.
And the blocks of them each month aren't that complicated, so you can feel comfortable doing them, and they teach you how. I don't know. It was just a really nice atmosphere. That I spent a couple hours there, I think in October, and it was really very nice.
Yes, yes. And we do. And as a matter of fact, I do the lotto blocks.
That we do
with the the drawing of the lotto blocks and all.
Yeah.
So I do that instructional component. And like I said, I am probably the newest kid on the block.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's teaching a lotto block. So
that's interesting. Well, they were great, because I saw the one that you guys were doing in the Christmas one with the tree.
Oh, yeah.
And it was giving them techniques, but it was doable, and it wasn't sort of frustrating. I thought it was a really nice level, Right.
And you try to keep those levels so that it goes up or down the scale, so that it keeps interest for the experienced quilters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is challenging, not so challenging that a beginner would say, oh, that's over my head.
Yeah, and then the people that were beginning, everybody was helping them. So they were trying to get their block done because they hadn't got it done, but they were sitting there sewing, and it was, I don't know, it was a really nice atmosphere. I really want to go back, and it was just great,
We'll expect you back there.
Awesome. February.
And then,
there.
Now Crescent City is more of a, they're working more on technique.
Interesting.
More on, conforming to different strategies and techniques and all. So you'll find it a little, it's relaxing, but I still think that, I guess we would say maybe more intermediate than the beginner type.
And right. Interesting.
And
that's very cool.
And then of course I sit and sew.
Yeah.
It's just, you can come and sit and you can sew, or you can come and sit and just talk if you
like that too.
If you feel like I'm home alone and I just came out to see what you guys were doing.
That's super nice.
Yes.
Well, I think this is super awesome. See, we had plenty to talk about. We have more to talk about. We didn't even get to everything I had on my list.
Oh, gosh.
See? Well, I think the next step for us is that I would love to come over and watch you quilt and look and see your machine. I totally kind of a little bit of a crush on your machine, just to let you know.
I'll tell you what. Look at your calendar.
Okay.
And see when you have, any time.
Okay.
And you might even grab Judy up with you.
Oh, yeah.
And you all can make the cruise over.
Okay.
And I'll try to have something that I, can put on the machine, or,
awesome.
I'll probably have it on the machine already because it takes about an hour to load one.
Cool. And, I'd be interested in any of it. So if you have one that needs to be loaded or whatever, I am totally interested in the process. Yeah.
No, you want to see the machine. You would love to see what it does.
The whole thing. Yep, I do. I really do.
The whole thing. And I just think it's the coolest. I'm not tired of it yet. I love it.
That's so great. Well, cool. Well, are weekends better for you, or weekdays, or does it matter to you?
Monday is always my best day.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's find a Monday that works for you. Okay, cool.
Now,
awesome.
Are we still on, or can I ask you a question?
Yeah, we're still on, and we could totally ask me a question. Sure.
Okay. Now, intellectual property.
Yes.
How I saw a lady at the quilt festival who won one of the top, quilts. And she said that she takes her camera with her everywhere she goes, and she takes these pictures. And she actually had a picture. She was giving us the name of the artwork that she had taken, and she brought it home. She cropped it out, and she designed a quilt and it was a winning quilt for the show.
Wow. Interesting.
So I was wondering, and then I did talk to her briefly, and she's out in Texas, so I will not be able to take one of her classes or anything.
Yeah.
But I asked her, I said, I love your quilt so much.
Yeah.
That I know I would not be able ever to duplicate the quilt itself.
Yeah.
But I do believe I can duplicate the
technique. Yeah.
And the subject is the same, would be the same.
Yeah, you can do that.
And I was wondering, is that
legal?
Legal.
Yes. So the techniques are not protected because it's a technique. So you think about like when you bake in the kitchen, we don't want to lock up techniques. So the law says, no, you can't lock up like how you do particular things. So yeah, you can do, and then the idea of whatever subject matter it was, that's not locked up either. Like if you wanted to do exactly the same quilt, sure, that probably copyright infringement, but you know, if you're doing it for yourself or whatever, that's a whole different thing. So I mean, if you're selling it, that becomes a problem. But let's say they have an idea of rainbows, right? And she took a picture of a rainbow and she did it in a certain way, and then you think, I want to do a rainbow quilt too. You can totally do that. Now, I thought you were going to ask about her taking a picture of an artwork and then putting it into a quilt, and if that was a problem. And then that's a whole host of questions that come up with that. But
well, apparently she did take the artwork, but I guess she cropped out the majority of it and streamlined it down.
Yeah. Right. And we have cases and that, you know, it's called a transformative use. So you take something and you totally, you don't take all of it and you transform it in a certain way, or maybe the painting's in the public domain already so that you can take as much as you want. But that's where I thought you were going. But yeah, you can do anything you want. I mean, she's got a technique and you do it. Yeah, go for it. There's no reason you can't do that.
But I do also have a portrait, a painting, I guess it's a painting or some artwork that I saw on the internet that I wanted to use and I know I want to use the primary part. It won't look exactly the same, but the image, the idea is going to be the same. So would I be infringing if I use that idea?
Are you going to use the actual image, you think, in your work?
No, not the actual. I'm going to, what I'm doing is I'm looking, okay, so I see a mirror and I want a mirror in mine. My mirror won't be exactly as that mirror. It wouldn't,
the idea of a mirror in a quilt. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's just an idea. So you're good. The closer you get, it's called the levels of it's an abstraction test. So the closer you get to exactly what someone else did, the more likely it's infringing. And the further out you are, like, oh, I have the idea of a rainbow or idea of a mirror, then it's not protected. Then you can do whatever you want. Does that make sense? So,
but I probably need to see it before I actually finish it, so that you could tell me if I'm infringing. Because
well, when I come over, let's chat, because what we're trying to do, part of the project is trying to help teach quilters to understand. And then the question really is, when does infringement matter? So like if you're just making it for your kid or your grandkid, who cares? Like it doesn't make a difference, right? It's not commercial. I think it's only when you're like selling it or you're putting it in a show sometimes, then it becomes little bit more tricky. And so you want to make sure that nobody says you're plagiarizing right?
Because I want it to go in a show.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'm not. So I'll say. So, in case people listen, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you legal advice, but I'm going to teach you about copyright so you can make your own choices. And when I come over, that's what we'll do. That too. Does that sound like a good plan?
That sounds like an excellent plan.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, awesome. Well, let's figure out a Monday very soon that I can come play with you, and I'll see if Judy wants to come, and let's keep chatting.
If she doesn't, we'll just
you and me. I'm cool with that too. I love it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time today. I think we have more conversations. I think we need to chat some more.
Okay, great.
Don't you think?
Yes.